I think Cowboys fans are really funny right now. And the reason why I think that they're really funny was because pre-2017, anytime the Eagles would beat the Cowboys, whether it was 44-6 or 56-21 or however we beat them, and in whatever way we beat them, we could sweep them 3 consecutive seasons like we did from 2000 to 2002. They would always say, look at that trophy case you have. You know, it's Donovan McNabb standing in front of an empty trophy case with a cup of chunky soup in his hands. That's what we were. That's what the Eagles were at the time. We were nothing. Okay? You're nothing unless you win the Super Bowl. If you beat the Cowboys, we are your Super Bowl. Every year, we are your Super Bowl. Then we win the Super Bowl. Okay? And after we win the Super Bowl, since the Cowboys hadn't won a Super Bowl in, I think at this point they hadn't won a Super Bowl in like 24, 25 years. Then the conversation turned to, well, Dak is better than Wentz. There you go. Even if Carson Wentz had a great season like he did in 2017, it wasn't because he was good, it was because his team was good. Okay? And if Dak had a bad season, it wasn't because of him, it was because of his team. Or if, the team went 10-6, it was all because of Dak. It's all because of Dak. Right? And there are a few people on Twitter, one that, you should never go full William S., who, once made a list. I think some sort of fantasy football. He considers himself a fantasy football guru who makes a bunch of lists and, thinks he knows a lot about football, but in 2018, after the 2018 season, he made a list of the top 10 quarterbacks, and Patrick Mahomes wasn't in the top 10. And his reasoning was something along the lines of, I don't like the way he ended. Even though he went 3-2 in the last 5 weeks, threw for like 10 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. And he wasn't a top 10 quarterback. So, I'm sorry, you just lose all credibility there. And then this other dude named That Dre Jack, the real Dre Jack or something like that, who's on every single post. The dude is in love with Dak Prescott. Dude, I'm just going to be honest here. I think Dak has a girlfriend. He doesn't want anything to do with you. He probably doesn't even know you exist. But then it just became, Dak is better than Wentz. Now division championships and one playoff win makes him that much more amazing. And because, of course, we all know that Carson Wentz, he hasn't done diddly squat. He had 6 plays in a playoff game, and he sucks, basically. Okay. I will admit right here, I will be a completely objective Eagles fan and say that, especially last year, Dak was better than Wentz. Okay, I would rather have Dak in a wheelchair, one peg-legged Dak Prescott, than have whatever Carson Wentz thought he was doing last year, okay? But here's the fact of the matter, right? I think Dak Prescott's a really good quarterback, and I think he's a top 10 quarterback. A lot of people are going to say he's probably not worth the money. However, what I'm going to say is the fact that it doesn't matter, because you don't pay a quarterback based off of what they're worth. You pay a quarterback based off of what they're going to be worth in the future. Michael Irvin was talking about how Dak Prescott, he's the closest thing to Tom Brady that we've ever seen. Tom Brady had he had 2 or 3 Super Bowls by the end of his 4th season, I think. Dak has 0. Doesn't mean he can't win more, but I mean, Michael Irvin just sounded like he was on copious drugs, which isn't funny to say, but it just goes to show that that ESPN is all about attention seeking. It's ridiculous. And someone said that that Dak Prescott is the next Joe Montana. Dak Prescott's like a mix between Donovan McNabb and Jeff Garcia. At this point, guys who put up pretty good numbers, goes to the playoffs a few times, but hasn't won the Super Bowl yet, or hasn't made it past a certain point yet. Doesn't mean he won't, but I think that, I don't like to jinx. Okay? Whenever I think, that, something is, too good to be true, or whenever I think in my head, how can this come back to bust my ass in the end? And I'm just not going to say it. I'm just not going to say it. It's just going to be out of my mind completely. I wouldn't just be like getting on top of a building and gloating about it, because you never know what's going to happen. Is he better than Carson Wentz? Sure. I'll give you that. But does that really mean it? There were a lot of quarterbacks that were better than Carson Wentz last year. I think there were like 30 other quarterbacks that were better than Carson, or maybe 29 other quarterbacks that were better than Carson Wentz last year. Congratulations. That's a very low bar. That's a very low bar at this point. But again, it just harkens back to the fact that, now that Eagles fans have seen a Super Bowl in the last quarter of a decade and Cowboys fans haven't, it's really funny how the narrative has now shifted from a playoff win. You know how many playoff wins I've seen? At this point, it's just not that impressive. So, if that's just what you want to go to, that's perfectly fine. But it doesn't impress anybody at this point. Dak Prescott is an impressive quarterback. You can't win without a team. You can't. And I've said this from the very beginning. You can't win without a team. But I think it's very curious that now Dallas Cowboys fans who said that Carson Wentz sucked, despite the fact that receivers dropped passes, defenses sucked, offensive line was iffy, play calling was iffy, are the same people who come out and say, oh, Dak Prescott is amazing because of everything he does. And if the team loses, it's not because of him, it's because of everybody else. And the fact that one playoff win is like the greatest thing in the world. I wish Dak nothing but the best. I think that he's a great leader, and I think that he's a guy who can do a lot of great things on that Dallas Cowboys team. Do I think that at this point at this point in his career he's done great things? Win-wise, no. Can he? Yes. I definitely like the fact that Dak Prescott's a great leader, and he's had a lot of adversity in his life. Of course, I felt so bad for him when the thing happened with his leg, and, it's one of those stories where you hope that he can come back better than ever. But as an Eagles fan, I hope he doesn't.